What's going on, guys? So let's take a look at what I'm looking at here. So I've got the Qs pulled up. What I mean by that, I think that it needs to test the 50-day moving average. Okay, so this red line here is a 50-day moving average on the Qs. That price is 324.85. So let's say, for example, right now the lows on the Qs for the day is 326.58. Let me draw a trend line here. So at 326.58, let's just say, for example, that for the rest of the day that the Qs get a little bit stronger today, and let's say that they do rally. Okay, let's say that they do rally and they make a push, and let's say they close here at the 50 EMA or even the middle Bollinger Band here at 330.
PLTR puts
If they
sweet
were to
bot
close
for
here,
strike
it's in the middle of the
20.5
range.
and total premiums
Okay, so the middle of the range means
228.4K.
that it's in between the 20-day moving average and it's in between the 50-day moving average. So it's kind of an outer space. The market obviously is weak because it's lost the green line and the blue line, which is the 5-day and the 10-day moving average, which is the short-term market sentiment. So normally when the Qs have control of the 5-day and the 10-day, the market is normally bullish. So if you go back here to the beginning of April, we're over the green and the blue line. The 5 and the 10-day were over, and the market was strong. It kept pushing up.
TSLA puts sweet bot for strike 670 and total premiums
the market started to get a little bit weaker and
164.18K.
started to chop around a little bit. Then it reclaimed here, and then the market pushed up and traded sideways. But as soon as we lost the 5 and the 10-day moving average, the market is pushed lower. So today we gapped down, right? We had a big gap down below the 20-day moving average, which tells me that, the most logical thing is that we have to test 324. Okay, the market has to test 324 because shorts are going to start to cover their positions here at 324 on the 50-day moving average, just to see if the market is still very bullish and strong. And if it is, that would be a good opportunity to maybe go long if we can reclaim the 50-day moving average. So let's say tomorrow we lose the 50-day moving average, but then regain it on the close. That could mean that this is the bottom here. Okay, so for the market just to close right in the middle of the 20-day and the 50-day supply zones here is kind of just an outer space. So you would have to imagine that even if it closes here at 327, let's say the market is closed in 10 minutes and we close at 327,
and total
tomorrow
premiums
it looks like it's going lower because all I have to do is
197.91K.
reclaim 327 and then make the push down here to
AMZN calls
324, which can
Sweetbot for
act as
strike
support. So
3305
let's take
and
a look
total
at
premiums
Netflix. So I brought up Netflix, right?
214.34K.
I have a trend line drawn here at 499. You can see we touched it here at 429. We touched 499, and today we cracked below 499. It's almost safe to say that if tomorrow the market retests 324 on the Qs, that Netflix is also going to confirm today's low price, and it has all this room down here to the next support, which is the lower Bollinger Band at 485. So that's why I say it has a maximum potential of 15-point move tomorrow. Not saying that it has to go all the way down here. If the Qs and the bulls can reclaim 324, if that gets tested tomorrow, then you can see that could possibly be our bounce to go long again. So if we look at something like Amazon, it's been on a 3-day straight sell-off since the highs of 35.54. As soon as we lost the 5-day and the 10-day moving average, we gapped down below or just right at the 20-day. We've lost the 20-day moving average, which is a big, it's somewhat of a big support, but not really. The major support on Amazon is going to be 3,200. So we're obviously 80 points away. You're going to have a little bit of chop right here at the 50 EMA and this lower Bollinger Band at 3261. So 20 points away, you might see a little bit of a bounce. You might see it start to trade sideways. But if Amazon loses 3261, it's almost safe to say that it's going to test 3220 and 3201. But just keep in mind, it has had 3 days of just straight selling. If I pull up something like Tesla, same thing on Tesla. So this is my drawn up trend line here. Let me remove that. Tesla today lost the 50-day moving average. So as you can see, Tesla hasn't really been pushing any lower. It does have support here at the lower Bollinger Band of 654. So we're currently at 659. So it might just hover here. Let's say tomorrow that the Qs continue to push lower towards 324. You could get a crack of the lower Bollinger Band, which is going to be 654 on Tesla, possibly a move all the way down to 577. Now that would be a huge move, and that all depends on what the Qs are doing, how fast they get to the 50-day average, and if they bounce immediately off the 50-day average. So right now I don't really see a trade in Tesla until Tesla can crack 654 and show some more strength to the downside. I know Andre has Shop, so let me look at Shop here. So Shop is really, it's coming into a little bit of support here at what are we at? We're at 1078 now. It does have support here at 1063. If Shopify can bust below 1063, it's got a lot of room to the downside. Obviously, if I zoom out here, the next low on Shopify would be 1014. So if it loses, if Shopify can lose 1064, 1063, and tomorrow the Qs are back testing that 50-day support,
AMZ input sweet spot for strike 3,280 and total premiums 243.42K.
This could be the bounce
BA
spot
call
on
sweet bot for
Shopify,
strike
and then the next
240
resistance
and total
would be
premiums
1100. If it can reclaim 1100,
453.19K.
let's say going into next
Cop
week or
call
whenever
sweet
this
bot
market
for
wants to
strike
settle out,
50 and total
then the next
premiums
big move is from
414.8K.
1150 to 1156 on
Z
that.
input sweet bot for strike
And just to
220
recap on the
and total
big move
premiums
on
220.57K.
So Nvidia, okay, Nvidia, I had it here at 591 was the break. Obviously, we gapped down today. We opened the market at 586. That's exactly when I went short, and then I covered a little bit into here into 573, 572, because I thought we were going to bounce off of this 50-day EMA, which obviously the market was weak, so we continue to tread down here. So Nvidia is going to find support here at this lower Bollinger Band and the 50-day moving average, which is 556.
TSLA put
so
sweet bot for strike 670 and total premiums 245.62K.
553.
FSLY put sweet bot for strike 80 and total premiums 314.16K.
Potential big move at 529, but we could get a bounce here off this 50-day moving average. So that's what I mean by keeping an eye on the Qs to see where we close today. So this white trend line here that I have is 326. This was a previous day's low. So if I just remove that, you can see here from today's lows of 326 to 325, 324, where the 50-day moving average is. This is going to be a hard support. The 50-day moving average is a very, very hard support. So is the 200-day moving average is a very, very hard support. The 5-day moving average supply zone and the 10-day moving average supply zone is pretty much your week-to-week, day-to-day sentiment. So if it's trading at or above the 5 and the 10-day, typically it's bullish. If it's trading below the 5 or the 10-day,
and total premiums 566.79K.
is bearish. So that doesn't mean that the whole market is going to be bearish for, you know, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, because it looks like we're already going to come down here and test the 50-day moving average. I'm thinking that this could be a buy here. If it does crack below the 50-day moving average and then it reclaims, this could possibly be a spot to pick up some calls, because we could test 342 again, maybe in a couple weeks, maybe in a month or two. So maybe could be a long-term play, especially if you're playing options. You could play those maybe 1 or 2 months out to retest with a 20-point move. If the Qs lose 324 altogether, then the sentiment would completely change, and then it would be more of a bigger correction and possibly even turn into a bearish sentiment, because if we lose 24, then we can test 321, 319, and if we lose 319, it's 301. So right now I'm not too concerned about anything other than the 324. That's
Yeti
the big
put
level.
sweet bot for strike 85 and total premiums 252.39K.
And 338.
TSLA put sweet bot for strike 670 and total premiums 247.52K.
And if we can reclaim 332, that's when everything is going to get really, really bullish again and put the next leg up. But so for right now, you don't really want to be thinking long. You want to be thinking short. And for this day, it looks like we want to close in between here. And I don't think that the market, if it closes in between this gap, we close in this gap, there's no reason why we don't test the strongest support system that the bulls have is 324 tomorrow.